Welcome. I'm Kimberly Henrie, and this is Living the Good Life. My collaborator today on this very first episode of Living the Good Life is a very special guest, and hopefully she'll be coming back again and again over time. I'd love to have lots of folks coming in and out and contributing to the show. But for this very first inaugural, my eldest daughter, Elizabeth Henrie, is with us this day.
Hi.
Hi.
It's me.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
Fabulous, of course. And of course, we get to talk all the time. But today, this is a super different level of our conversation. And I'm excited to share it with everybody.
Yeah, this is going to be cool.
So Elizabeth, in addition to being my daughter, is a very popular Instagrammer. You can find her is it at Witches in the Wild on Instagram?
Yeah, witches.in.the.wild. There's a period between all the words.
Okay, so you can check her out on Instagram. You're close to like 20,000 followers, right?
Getting there.
That's fantastic. So that's
500 away.
Exciting. People are loving what you're doing, obviously. And then you also own witchesinthewild.com, which is kind of a metaphysical business where you're offering services and products along the realms of the metaphysical, right?
Yes, I have my shop on that website. I also occasionally blog. I'm not super blogger yet, but I do like to share occasionally.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I hope everybody will jump on there and check you out. And I am excited to also be taking over your Instagram account here for the next week or so.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be super fun.
What would it be like to have your mom take over your Instagram account? Fasten your seatbelt.
Well,
I know things.
You do know things. You do.
We'll leave it at that. So the show is Living the Good Life. And how I arrived at that is I just want to give a little introduction and let you understand what it is we're doing here, because I would really like to keep this thing going. We've got lots of great guests lined up. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But the concept of the show is really see good, do good, live good. So there's a lot of stuff in the world happening, and there's a lot of negativity that can overtake our senses because you don't have to look far to see all the bad news of the world. I think when you can stop and see the good stuff, it only multiplies. You see it much more often. So we're going to talk a little bit about a practical way in which that's manifested this week. And then do good when you practice doing unto others, those random acts of kindness and things like that, when we can help you share ideas and allow you to find new ways to contribute to the global economy of kindness. Hopefully that will benefit us all. And then live good. I think above all else, when we think of living the good life, we think of treating ourselves. And I think there's nothing wrong with that at all. In fact, I think self-care is probably the number one thing that we most chronically miss out on when we get busy with life. Elizabeth, do you identify with that?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, you're a busy mom with 3 littles and a part-time job and a full-time business. Do you find that you stress out sometimes, a few minutes a day?
I would say I get a little bit of stress in every day. Yeah.
A little bit of stress. Awesome. So I think everyone does. And hopefully this is a few minutes in your day that we can lift you up and share some ideas on how to get the best out of the day-to-day, because living your best life can include mansions and beach trips and champagne and caviar, but it can include all those little moments too. And with that thought, I want to encourage you in honor of our show today. And Elizabeth, you've seen me do this too over the years, is, you get out your best china. I think we've served mac and cheese on china before.
Oh yeah, I remember things like that. And that, that was always a super fun thing to do. Like, it made a regular dinner seem so much more special.
It does. And you have these beautiful things in your life. I think you should only surround yourself with things that you love. Get the most out of them. Get the most impact you can, because we only theoretically go around once. And of course we could make a whole show about that conversation. But
I think the best way to think of it is that as far as you know, you have one shot.
That's right. There you go. That's the information that we're operating on right now. So today, to kind of live that theme, and this is something I do pretty frequently, is I'm drinking my glass of water for the show in a wine glass. So I would encourage you, if you're listening right now, go grab your best cup, wine glass, whatever, the vessel that makes you feel most special, and join me in a very fancy glass of water or whatever it is you're drinking this morning. The other tip I'll give you there, just kind of along the same lines, is if you work outside of your home, bring your own coffee cup to work. It makes a huge impact on how delicious that coffee tastes every day. Just saying.
It's funny that you say that, because I actually do have at my in-person job, I have 2 coffee mugs at the restaurant that I work in that I hide in a special place, and they are just for me.
Awesome. So you're treating yourself a little special.
Oh, I feel so good when I use those cups.
I love those coffee places where you can bring in your own mug and they keep it there for you. I know of restaurants or coffee shops that'll do that. They kind of.
Are you serious? That's awesome.
Yes, they hang them all over the wall, and you just, whenever you go in, you get your mug served to you with your coffee. So pretty cool.
That's amazing.
So you were sharing with me earlier a story, and I thought it'd be really interesting to share with everyone about really the impact that personal one-on-one communication can have with someone. I'm going to kind of turn it over to you, Elizabeth. I think it's so important to communicate with other people with compassion, and it doesn't always happen because it's such a fast-paced world that we're living in right now. But you are relaying to me a story, and I hope you don't mind sharing that again, kind of an example of that.
No, I'd love to share. A friend of mine I was visiting with has a son with some specific medical needs, and she requires a specialist to treat him. So a lot of her specialists that she was working with have been retiring or moving, and she's kind of been scrambling to find somebody local that she can see. So her son's pediatrician, who's not a specialist, called her today while I was visiting with her, and kind of really took the extra steps to help her find somebody. I don't know about the audience and their experience with doctors, but occasionally doctors can be kind of standoffish, or they kind of pass the buck along to their nurses and receptionists and don't seem to take a personal interest. But this doctor, I didn't hear the whole conversation because I was trying to respect privacy, but speaking to my friend about it afterward, her doctor went the extra mile and made some phone calls herself, didn't have a receptionist or a nurse do it, didn't leave my friend hanging to do the research on her own. She went and found people who can help their family, and called her back with the information, and really took a huge weight off of my friend's shoulders. It was incredible to see the worry and the stress just kind of fall away, and just the deep breath that comes with that kind of relief. The good energy was kind of just like palpable in the room at the time. It was very emotional and moving, knowing that, somebody who could have said that not my problem, instead made it their problem and made a way for my friend to get the care for her child that she needs.
That's amazing. And I wish I could share, with everyone exactly what doctor this is, but
right.
That really isn't the point. The point is that such a small, really a small task made such a huge impact in somebody's life. When you've been the receiver of bad news, or not necessarily bad news, but just the news of the next step seems overwhelming, like, a mountain looming before you, and to know that somebody's helping you climb that is extraordinary.
Right. I mean, my friend was staying up late at night trying to do all this research and find someone. And because she's just, a regular person and a wonderful person, but she is a regular person, and she has internet and all that, but she doesn't have the professional connections that it really took to get this tackled. Whereas her son's pediatrician, she is a doctor. She knows other doctors. She found a way to use her resources and connections to make something happen that would have taken so much more effort for my friend.
Right. That's amazing. I'm really super, super happy to hear. And hopefully everything works itself out. Well, maybe we'll have to check in with you later to see how that story unfolds. But kudos to that doctor for being really a human being. And, I got to give doctors credit because they are super busy and they are overwhelmed and there's a lot to do. And our system is kind of a little bit of a mess. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but
right. They are people too. Like, I mean, when it comes down to, they're human beings and they have an incredible workload. So not everyone in that field has the time or the energy left over after the work that they do to do this sort of thing. Which is why they need, their nurses, and they need their receptionists, and they need all of that. Fortunately, in this situation, the doctor had the time and the energy and the compassion to see a need and try to fill it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's amazing. Now, coming up, we're going to talk about some fun things. This is Elizabeth's idea to talk about kind of some of the things that we do to elevate not only our holidays, but just kind of the whole winter season, I think. I'm going to talk about that in just a moment, but I want to highlight some ideas on the idea or the concept of doing good. We just had an example of seeing the good in another human being. I love to find little ways to make somebody's life a little bit better. But when I thought about what it is that I do, what really came flooding to me was things that people have done for me. So I'm just going to share a couple of those things. And Elizabeth, I'd love to have you chime in and share some ideas too. But I have a colleague who is in TV. So we would work together from time to time, but every time I ever went to her home to do an interview or be interviewed, she always gave every single person a flower out of her garden.
Oh,
it was just the most sweetest little gesture. And I walked, I have pictures of the flowers that she gave. She was a great gardener. So I had pictures of flowers that she's given me over the years. And it just makes, lifts your heart, gives you something a little special. And then I have another friend who is a business partner. She's a realtor for us several times, and we've just collaborated on lots of things. And she likes to bake. I walked into her house for a meeting the last time I went over there, and it smelled just wonderful, heavenly. I was there for a 15-minute meeting. And when I walked out of there, she handed me a freshly baked loaf of zucchini bread, which is something that she just does for the people that she's meeting with or seeing out and about. So I just thought those are super simple little things that really brighten my day anyway. And I'm going to look for ways to incorporate that. I just went and picked up a bunch of supplies to have little Christmas gifts handy as I'm out and about over the next few weeks so that I can pass on some goodness that way. But always looking for ways to do some good. And I know you do the same thing.
I love giving gifts. I love giving small gifts. Just generally part of who I am is like I am constantly looking for fun little crafty projects to put together, both by myself or with my sister or with my kids. And things like that always make fun little presents to even when it's not the holidays, even if it's the middle of July,
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of fun because people don't expect it. And then when you give them something fun like that just the whole outlook of their day is so much improved.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I'm testing new products for my shop, one of the things that I like to do is make small sample sizes and pass them out to my girlfriends and my favorite customers at work at my day job. You know, most of the time I've already tested it on myself, so I'm not giving out things that aren't any good. But it's really nice to get the feedback from them, like, oh, I really love that thing that you gave me. Oh my gosh, I used it all up. Where can I get more? And you know, it's nice kind of being the hookup.
And let's keep it real. You are a mom of three. You're a single mom of three. And you're not made of money at this point in time. So you've got to be creative in your ways to up level your life. And so these aren't expensive things that you're giving out to people.
Not typically, no. People like to throw around the phrase, oh, it's the thought that counts. It's absolutely true, though. When people know that you thought about them to the point that you made a thing,
mm-hmm.
and then gave it to them, like, that's your time and your effort that you just gave to them.
Mm-hmm. All right, now on to the good stuff.
Woo.
Maybe this is our favorite stuff. Maybe it's too much our favorite stuff. I don't know. But instilled in maybe my culture, my upbringing, pretty much everyone. Whenever you think of holiday party, most of the time you think of cocktails flowing. So whether you're heading to a party or hosting a party, or if it's just you and your candle alone at home for Christmas dinner, you can up-level a little bit, but just a little bit of a twist on some really simple drinks. Again, if you just want to drink water, drink it out of your best glass. I love a great cup of tea or coffee in a really nice mug. And I love just drinking a seltzer, like a seltzer water with some fruit or cucumber in it that makes me feel just, like I'm taking care of myself. And that's really what living a good life is about, right? Taking care of yourself.
Definitely.
Elizabeth, you have some favorites that you wanted to share with us today. So let it rip.
Okay, so I was kind of thinking, like, because we're talking about living a good life and what does that mean to me? And where we live anyway, it's snowy, it's cold, the Christmas season, the winter holidays are coming. No matter what you celebrate or don't celebrate during the winter, like, certain things are just kind of part of the fabric of our culture now. Everybody likes like hot, spicy drinks or festive type drinks this time of year. So it kind of got me thinking, like, what are my favorites? So my first favorite, like, first and foremost, absolute 100% favorite winter drink of all time is hot buttered rum.
Yes. I'd have to say that's my favorite as well.
It's not just the rum, though. I mean, because the kind that, when I remember when I was younger, like, a few times you'd make this mix that we kept in the freezer.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd scoop it out of the freezer into the mug and add the hot water. And, Megan, my sister, and I, we were just kids. So obviously we're not drinking rum.
Right.
But even without the rum, it's just so good. It's like everything that a hot chocolate is and more.
So in the end,
spicy and hot.
It is. It's like Christmas in a mug for sure.
It is, definitely.
So there's many recipes out there. You can Google it and find your own, favorite recipe. But the basics are butter and spices like cinnamon, nutmeg, and brown sugar and vanilla ice cream. We've made it with and without the vanilla ice cream. It's kind of a, whatever you have on hand, kind of throw it together thing. But the official recipe is rum, hot water, brown sugar, butter, and vanilla ice cream with the cinnamon and nutmeg and all those Christmassy spices.
You could really just grab the pumpkin spice out of your cupboard and add that in, because it'd have everything you need in it. And you get to feel extra luxe like it's Starbucks.
Yes. So, and I do, like, as you said, I like to mix it up and keep it around in the freezer so that when you want that quick drink, you want that special time, just get an ice cream scoop some out in a mug with some hot water, add the rum, and you're good to go. So good stuff.
It's so good. I actually like it better without the rum because I'm not a big drinker. because it's so everything.
It's so everything.
I don't even know how to accurately describe this drink.
Nice. Well, I'm glad. If I've left no other mark on your life, I am glad that I have given you hot buttered rum. So also, one of our traditions around here, and my husband, Randy, knows at holiday time to bring home some champagne.
Yes.
And orange juice. We do mimosas. That's kind of a long-standing tradition, and you've introduced us to a new one.
So it's very similar. It's still champagne and juice, but instead of orange juice, if you add cranberry instead, then it's no longer a mimosa, it's a poinsettia, which is, that's the flower everybody likes at Christmas time, and I figure that a poinsettia is really perfect for holidays, like Christmas or whatever.
Yeah, you can't really get past the holiday season without seeing a poinsettia or two.
Or a cranberry.
So that's champagne and cranberry juice. And
yeah,
you can get, we get crazy and we get out there and get the cheap champagne and do it at big time and enjoy the bubbles. Bubbles are always nice.
Oh, yeah. Bubbles in my bath, bubbles in my drink.
So what's your all-time favorite way to treat yourself?
My all-time favorite way to treat myself?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is super fun to do. I haven't done it in a while, but I feel like now that we're talking about it, I'm going to have to do it again really soon.
Okay.
So my favorite way to treat myself on a night, children are not home because they go visit their father, I stop by the grocery store and I go to the floral section, and in my grocery store there is a clearance floral section where you get flowers for super cheap because they're on their very last legs and they're about to start looking sad.
Uh-huh.
So I like to buy a big bouquet of clearance flowers, and then I buy a couple oranges or limes or something. Sometimes I use grapefruit. I come home, chop all the heads off the flowers and put them in a bowl.
This sounds morbid.
I know. Bear with me. It gets better.
Okay.
And I slice up all the citrus. I like citrus the best. And then I run a bath, a very hot bath.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I even put tea bags in the bath, like, because I have different kinds of herbal teas. Mm-hmm. And different herbs are great for different things, like mood lifting and things like that. So I make a nice big bath and I have all these flowers and citrus fruit slices floating in it. Maybe I add some bath salts and some essential oils, and I just soak. And the flowers do absolutely nothing as far as like your health or wellness, but they're pretty and you'll feel like a princess.
Well, aromatic, it's they've got to give off some fragrance.
Well, yeah, they are aromatic. There's that. And they're pretty. And I don't care if you're a 60-year-old man, you sit in a bath full of flowers, you will feel like a princess. And it feels good.
Okay. Well, I want to hear from all the 60-year-old men out there. Let us know if you try the princess bath.
It feels process. So good. And you just sit there and everything about the experience is just, this is for me. This is mine. This is my moment. In this moment, I have gone through, I bought these flowers. I bought these citrus fruits. I ran this bath water. I sliced all this up. I put it here, and it's for me.
Nice.
And it's a good half hour of prep just to make the bath. Mm-hmm. So every intention, like every step of the way is intentional.
Yes.
For your own comfort
yes.
and happiness.
Yes. I love that. I love that you recognize that.
I try to be intentional about my actions. Obviously, we all do things unintentionally sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad. But when you're intentionally caring for yourself with the goal being your own happiness and comfort, like it's like a luxury. Even if you only drop $5 on the stuff you put in that bath.
Right.
It's luxurious.
Right. Next week, I'm excited to share this conversation with you. We recorded it yesterday. John Bailey, who is a voiceover actor out of LA, and my collaborator on that episode, Al Kessel, who's a voiceover artist out of Phoenix. We've all been running in circles for years together, but it was great to get to collaborate and share some of their brilliant magic with you. John is a voiceover artist who specializes in doing impersonations, or ADR, which is basically impersonating actors in their own movies to clean up dialogue and that sort of thing. And he's going to teach us all how to answer the phone like Buddy the Elf, because December 18th is National Answer the Phone Like Buddy the Elf holiday. I don't know who made that up.
I love them, though.
But it is a thing. So we're going to learn how to do that next week. We're going to have a little bit of fun. And then we've got a guest coming on later this month. Josie Elizabeth is her name. She is a fitness gal, a blogger. She's done so much over the years, and she's revamping her brand. So we're going to talk with her. And, of course, being in the realm of fitness, we're going to talk about sweet stuff. So that should be a fun conversation. And then one of my favorite people, who's a stylist out of the Denver area, is going to come and talk with us about after Christmas fashion and those ugly Christmas sweaters. Kristen Kelly is going to be joining us from Styled and Inspired. So a lot of fun things on tap for the month of December. Looking forward to all of those conversations. Elizabeth, thanks so much for hanging out with your mom today.
Oh, yeah, I had a great time.
I look forward. We're going to take over that Instagram account at witches.in.the.wild coming up here in the next day or so. We'll get that kicked off and underway. I promise I'll share some fun stuff and try not to scare away your 20,000 followers.
I'm sure that it will be a good time for everyone.
It will. So let's continue on living the good life, seeing the good, doing the good, and living the good. Have a great day.